Joy Jane's. Let's still those headphones on.
Oh,
Headphones,
I
yeah.
have to have headphones.
It's the
on?
funnest part.
Why?
Well, you can hear me.
Oh, really?
How else are you going to hear me?
Well, I can hear you here, just like this. That's your voice. I mean, I can hear you.
I really thought about that. Look at that. Like a glove. That way you can...
I can't hear you.
Yeah, that way you can hear yourself too, and you'll know.
I want to lean back, so can I just...
You can lean back, but that'll go with you.
That'll
kind of go along for the ride, really.
Okay.
There you go. You just want to keep it pretty close, though.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
okay.
you want to keep it real close.
All right.
Kind of angle it.
Angle it.
Right
Okay.
there.
All right.
Cool. All right. Thanks for coming in such short notice.
Well, pretty short, but
Yeah.
hey, you hit me at a good day. We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And got a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it'll be good. But for those of you that don't know Joy James is my friend. She's a former colleague on the Chamber of Commerce. You also, you're as community active as anybody really can
As
be.
you.
Yeah, no, you're much more. And you've been doing it for a lot longer, too. So
I had to point that out.
I have a lot. I like that.
It's okay.
No, there's a lot to learn from with you and all you've done and for how long you've done. And also, you are a traveler. You're a solo traveler.
Yeah.
And that's not that common, right?
Well, it's
freak out.
It's more common than people realize. Now, not all of my travel is solo. I do a lot of road trips with a friend of mine. We do, that's the local stuff. But I started solo traveling a few years back. But it was an easy one. It was Hawaii. Anybody can solo travel to Hawaii, so that was great. But it was the trip that I took at the end of 2018 that was kind of major, and I was gone for 113 days.
Wow!
And I planned it all myself. It was Europe though, and people they're shocked, but Europe is easy. Europe is safe. It's safer than probably here, and with the websites, smartphones, all that stuff, Google Maps, they steered me wrong once or twice, but for the most part, you can get around, you can book places, you can figure out the cheapest ways to get from point A to point B. Is it a bus? Is it a train? And then with Airbnb or Booking.com, you can just I could kind of roll ahead of one or two places and book stuff and be flexible about my timing and where I wanted to go. I had a general idea where I wanted to go, so I went to Prague and then hit the Czech Republic for a few weeks. You meet interesting people this way. When you travel alone, people talk to you and you're more in tune with other people because you don't have a companion that you're talking with or that you're relating to all the time. And so in order not to feel lonely or socially isolated, you look for people to talk to.
Right.
And so I would stay at Airbnbs because there'd be people there to talk to and find out what they're doing, get tips about good places to go and things to do, things to see. Yeah. You can do little walking tours. Every city. Well,
let's back up a little bit. Why did you start traveling? Have you always traveled? Has that been your thing?
I wouldn't say always. I've had some really good experiences with travel, but it wasn't like an every year kind of thing. Back in 2007, I had a really good experience where I was in Europe for an extended period because my late husband had a gig right outside Paris, and he was going to be there several months. So I quit my job and joined him. I was like, what the heck? I'm going to be a tourist. And so I went. So that was kind of like semi-solo travel in that I'd be out and about during the day doing what I wanted to do, seeing what I want to see, Paris, France, and all that.
Yeah.
But to decide to solo travel, you don't have to worry about what anybody else wants to do.
It's funny the way you say it sounds like a sport. It's like
really.
I decided to start skydiving, and that's how it sounds.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like it's a thing.
It is a thing, and there are tons of Facebook groups for female solo travelers over 50 and female solo. So there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of women out there.
It's kind of ironic, right?
Yeah.
It's like a group page for
It's
solo
a group
travelers.
page for solo travelers, but they share information, they share tips, and it isn't that you want to be alone, but it's that you have maximum flexibility when you travel solo.
Right.
You don't have to worry about somebody else's habits. Are they late sleeper, early riser, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. You just go at your own pace, at your own speed, what you want to see and do. You're not sharing expenses, so it could be more expensive depending on the kind of accommodations you want. But I found that I could get pretty inexpensive places to stay using bed and breakfasts for the most part that were great. A couple places I had an apartment to myself through Airbnb. It wasn't that expensive, and had a great time. But you relate to the people. When I travel, I like to get into the culture, and then you do that by getting to know people. So I used some contacts I have through Philanthropist, which is one of the organizations that I'm active with in Lakewood.
Right.
It's international. And I reached out through the networks and Philanthropists to connect with people in different places that I visited. Not every place, but a lot of places. So that also gives you that extra dimension. It's not just seeing cathedrals and museums and that kind of thing. It's also getting into the culture and learning about the history of places. And I kind of like history.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
So what's your favorite place you've gone so far?
I haven't been there yet.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yes, it does.
What's the favorite place you've gone so far?
So far.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But there are so many places, and I enjoy every place I go. I can say in that.
Every place. There's not one where you're like, I could have done without.
Yeah, Mount Etna. I could have done without Mount Etna because I hit it on a cloudy day and it was freaking cold up there.
Yeah.
But no, by and large, there were a couple places on that 2018 trip that I really enjoyed. The city of Verona in Italy. I loved it. And then I also enjoyed Sicily. I hit 3 cities in Sicily. Palermo was just amazing, and so was Catania. So
what's one thing you could teach me about Italians or Italy?
Eat everything.
No, not
food.
not teach me about like if or when I go, but like something interesting about Italy.
Oh, wow. Something interesting about Sicily. Because people think they kind of know Italy, there's the wine country and all that. Everybody's pretty up.
I don't know anything.
Really? Okay.
No.
Well, amazing. Tuscany,
dumb.
the wine country. But coming from California, it's so similar. It wasn't that unusual. Didn't feel as unusual.
Yeah.
But Sicily was fascinating. Sicily used to be part of Greece. It was called Greater Greece back in the day, and there's these amazing Greek temples that you can visit in Sicily.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Sicily has been invaded and occupied by different, like the Turks had it after the Greeks, the Romans, the Turks, then the French, Italian. So all those influences exist there. So when you go to Sicily, like Palermo, they have all these great outdoor markets, all the food and everything, daily.
Yeah.
It's all open air, outdoor, and the vendors are. It's almost like being in the Middle East, in that's left over from when the Turks occupied there. They're calling out their wares. You can hear them blocks away.
Calling out their wares.
Their wares, what they're selling. They're speaking in Italian, but they're come to my booth. I assume they're saying, and see the great fish. I have fresh fish today, and
that's
this
why
and
they're
that.
so good at opera.
that could be, but so it's seeing that mesh of cultures that's so interesting about Sicily.
Yeah. So it's the mesh of cultures rather than like the Italian.
Right. If you want pure, well, okay. Here's something else about Italy you don't know, I'm sure. The northern Italians look down on the southern Italians.
Oh, I knew that.
You knew that?
I did.
Okay. See, you did know something about Italy.
I know,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah. But southern Italy is is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much. I'm not as traveled as I want to be or will be later on. But I did spend a couple months in Eastern Europe.
Yes.
Which was amazing.
What parts of Eastern Europe?
I spent about a month in Budapest, and then I went to Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, and I was basically on the road every day. And I played at least 24 concerts almost every other night.
What?
In my band. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! But isn't it like your cultural heritage?
No,
kind of Eastern Europe.
No, I'm Portuguese.
Portuguese.
But
okay.
I've never been to Portugal.
Portugal's cool.
Yeah, I know. It's one of my
Yes, I've been to
places.
Yes.
I didn't meet my biological father till I was like 24.
Oh, wow.
And since then we've gotten to know each other a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't mind going to Portugal and kind of learning more.
2007, I went to
Yeah?
Portugal.
I
Yeah,
heard it's
during that
amazing.
time, I was in France. My husband and I did a whole month of traveling around after his gig was over in Paris. And Portugal was one of the places we visited.
My father actually came from the Azores when he was in his late teens. I believe.
Wow.
So he was first generation.
Yeah.
Second?
Yeah. First generation.
Yeah.
You're what we call the immigrant generation. I do
Right.
a little genealogy. That's
Yeah.
how we refer to that. First,
Oh, who hasn't? That's a deep hole. I've lost at least a couple months of my life. And
Oh, for sure. Ancestry. Oh my
oh,
gosh.
dude, I have
yeah.
a whole map, and it's wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Oh yeah, 2-3 in the morning. All of a sudden you look up and oh my
Yep.
God, what have I done?
Start reaching out to people that are like your fourth cousin. You're like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I connected with a second cousin who was adopted. She was anyway. There's a long story, but yeah, I was able to. I got a notice from a guy who ended up being my mother's first cousin, but he was the son of her uncle who had been adopted out from the family.
it's insane.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
like-
mean, it's a whole new thing. Long story short, my wife Mandy ended up. I got her one at the Ancestry.
Yeah.
And somebody reached out and was like, "Hey, you're my cousin, but I was adopted." And then we were like, "There's no way," because we know all the aunts and uncles, and no way. Mandy brings it up at dinner as like kind of like just. Oh, somebody reached out and said that one of you was, her aunt, but we all know that's not true. And all of a sudden, one starts crying.
Ooh, it's family secrets.
So now he's actually one of our closest relatives. Like he actually comes out and visits from Michigan, and he's really
That's
awesome,
great.
and his family's great.
Yep.
And so now he's got some he's got family now, and his whole life, and he's late 40s.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think there's a lot of good that comes from.
Yeah, but it's also disappointments. There's people who get to,
Oh, for sure.
the families don't want to connect.
Sometimes
Yeah.
the truth hurts,
It's
but
too
I think
hard, too hard.
at the end of the day, even if the truth hurts, it is what it is, and you're gonna take it.
Yeah.
However.
Yeah.
So, but one thing with even traveling in Eastern Europe, I think everybody should travel. It's easier said than done for sure, but I think that if you travel, especially at certain times of your life, you really do bring back a certain element of open-mindedness, but you also bring back an element of kindness as well.
Yeah.
One thing when I traveled, people really, when they accepted you into their home, it was like they were accepting you into their home. It meant something.
Yes.
And there's just so much to learn from other cultures.
There is.
There really,
There is. So I wish everybody in the United States could travel somewhere and realize the differences and the similarities. I mean, the kinds of things we all care about are very much the same. But when you go to Europe, you touch that history. It's still more present, still more relevant. You learn about World War II and what happened to the Jews in all these cities in Europe. I mean, and visit Auschwitz and all of that kind of thing, the Holocaust. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It continues to be. I mean, there were parts of Catania where you could see where bombing had occurred during World War II. Because there were newer buildings on one side of the street. The other side of the street had buildings that had been damaged but were still there. You could see where there was like part of a second floor was gone, but they're still using the building.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
stuff you just go, wow, that is still present.
And there's a reason for that. We spend a lot of time keeping everything new and rebuilding. But even one of the apartments I stayed in when I was in Budapest, on the front of the building, there's all these shell, damage from the revolution that occurred. And there was I'm not going to even try to remember the streets, but where the tanks came down during the Hungarian Revolution. But they spend money, invest in maintaining the damage because it's a reminder, because history can repeat itself. And when you grow up and there is no reminder, it's very easy to feel it. And I think that a lot of the people in the U.S. feel this. It like even though they're aware of certain historical events, that could never happen now, right? It could never happen now. But when you're constantly looking at the damage
evidence
from the guns and the tanks, you go, well, wow, okay, maybe we should be more on top of this stuff.
Yeah, don't take things for granted. Don't take anything for granted. Yeah.
And the biggest thing over there was the size of the fridges. That was the biggest. They're
it's just
like a personal fridge, like
they shop every day.
Every single day.
Yeah, for food.
And we would walk to the market every single day.
Yeah.
We'd get our bell pepper and meat spread, and we'd bring it back.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's normal. And, there's something to be said for that. You're always eating nice, fresh food, less processed food.
It's localized.
Yeah.
It's people care more about the food that's grown because they drive past it, and it's the food that they're eating. Also, I mean, there's an exercise component. There's a
social,
and there's a huge social component, an environmental component of public transportation. Well, if you're traveling,
oh yeah, you're walking around a bus, although traffic in Palermo, incredible.
Yeah.
Lots of cars, and hard to get around. The buses would be late because there was so much traffic they couldn't get through. Yeah, I didn't ride a bus much at all in Palermo. Mostly I was walking because you could get places faster.
I remember in Eastern Europe they had a really good subway system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But just like the overall emphasis on public transportation.
Oh yeah.
Huge.
Oh, other parts, yeah. There's no subway system in Sicily that I know of. It was all either rail or bus.
Yeah.
Bus for the most part. But other parts, yeah, for sure.
So you haven't been to your favorite place yet?
Well, no, because I'm thinking about going to Africa. That's my next goal. Yeah. Went to the travel show last weekend, and up in LA, big convention center travel show, and picked up a bunch of information about Africa. Now, if I'm going to travel that far, I'm going to be there, not just 10 days or 14 days. I'm probably going to be there for a month, but I think I can tap into the Philanthropist network again, because we have clubs all over Africa, and so I'll try to get in the safari and the all the sights to see. And
but what part of Africa? See, I always
central
feel
and south and east.
When people say, I always feel like when somebody says I'm going to travel to America, it's like it's going to be great. It's like, well, which part? I mean, but Africa is huge too.
Oh, it's bigger than
Yeah. So it's like, well, if I'm going to go to Anaheim, or I'm going to go to New York City or Alabama.
Yeah. No, I totally get you. So it'll be central, east, south. South. Tanzania.
You just named the entire.
Botswana. No. Because I've been to northern. I've been to Egypt and Morocco. So.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stay on the east side, eastern, and maybe central Botswana, Tanzania. Again, I'm still. It's a process for me when I'm going to do a trip like this.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while, so I'm going to get my map out and kind of figure out, do some reading, do some more research, and figure out the places I absolutely want to see.
Now, have you traveled the U.S.?
I've traveled in the U.S. somewhat. I wouldn't say super extensively. If I counted up the number of states I've been to, probably 25.
That's a pretty good chunk.
Not too.
Like actually traveled them, because kind of like what you're saying with
road trips and stuff.
Like some people when they say, "Oh, I've been to New York," but really they just went to JFK.
Oh no. I mean actually, spending some time there. Yeah. Well, I grew up in Chicago, so I got that down.
Okay.
And spent a lot of time in Michigan and Wisconsin, so because it's close. And I spent a little time in New York. I've been to Boston, Florida. Yeah, because when you live in Chicago, Florida's the vacation spot. When you just can't stand the snow anymore, you have to go somewhere.
Yeah,
it's Florida.
Doesn't Michigan have a spot like that?
Well,
I think a lot of states probably have the place where people go.
I used to spend my summers in Michigan. Summers in Michigan.
Yeah.
But when it gets too cold in the winter, you head south.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only way to go. So I like the Southwest. Really? Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, California, of course, and there's still more of California to see.
What's the best state? You have to pick one.
California.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
The diversity. It has everything. Everything. Yeah. Either anything you want to do, you can do here, I think. You know, if you're into fitness, if you're into skiing, if you're into surfing, if you're whatever you're into or interested in, you can do here. Yeah, California.
If a lot of what you do is travel the world, why pick the most expensive place to live to spend the rest of the time?
Well, I've been here a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think you can beat the climate in Lakewood.
Yeah.
Frankly, it's pretty darn good, and I've been in my house since 1981.
Gotcha.
So I'm
You're set.
I'm good.
You're set.
Yeah.
So is there? So you're very involved in the community, but you're also a world traveler. How do you reconcile being so invested in such a small part of the world while being so interested in everything else? Like, are they one and the same, you think?
Because your day-to-day life is impacted by your immediate surroundings. So if you're not involved in your community and then you don't have an opportunity to have a say or to make life a little bit better, because you can touch people wherever you are, but you can do the most, I think, where you live.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the part of my volunteerism that is more immediate and where I can have direct impact on people. Traveling is more for my pleasure and education. And so it's really two different things.
So, world traveler,
Mm-hmm.
Lakewoodian at at heart, and thank you for everything you do with the city. You're probably one of the most consistent people in the city.
Oh.
That like you're when you're in the city.
When I'm here, but
you're
I'm here
very,
more than
very supportive.
people think. Even though I love to travel, I'm here most of the time still. And it's a good city. I enjoy being in the Philanthropist Club. That we've got the Lakewood Run coming up on
That's right.
on March 8th, and
We'll have a team. The gym's had a team.
Yes, very supportive.
Past
Appreciate
3
it.
or 4 years,
Mhm.
4 maybe.
Yeah,
Last year was pretty rainy.
it's not going to rain this year.
Yeah.
Guaranteed, not going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It rained a lot, and it hurt us last year. So I'm hoping more people will turn out
Yeah.
to help make up for that, because those proceeds are used for good causes. Both the sheriff's station, we share the proceeds with the sheriff's station, and we do programs and projects that help empower women and girls in the community and globally. And the sheriff's station has its charities. They have deputies whose families need help if a deputy's injured
Right.
or killed, God forbid. Help those families. They also support 999 for Kids, which is another charity. And so there's lots of great ways that those funds are utilized. And
It's a feel-good event.
it
for
is.
sure.
Oh, we have a blast.
I mean, it's a nice run.
Yeah.
But it really is a feel-good
Yeah.
event.
And you can walk it. You don't
Yeah.
have to run. You can
Yep.
walk 5K, and then we have the fun run. We're going to have 2 blow-up obstacle courses on the
Oh,
fun
nice.
run. So it's mostly for the kids, but you get some adults who just want to
Yeah.
do it too. But we've been trying to do that for the last 2 years, and because of the rain, we couldn't have them out there.
Right.
This year, it's going to be good. They're going to
Nice.
be out there. The sheriffs are paying for those. Thank God. That's a good
Nice.
thing. And so we hope that more families will come out. Bring your kids. Run the 1K, the fun run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see if the girls are up for it.
Yeah.
And I think so. I sit on the planning committee for the Walk for Kids for Ronald McDonald House,
Yes.
and I think they reached out because I
Yeah.
had the idea of possibly if they have 2 different events, why not have a Ronald McDonald booth at that one, because everyone that's there
Yes.
is already there, and then having
Yes.
a Philanthropist booth at the
Ooh.
kind of like, I mean, it makes perfect sense. So I believe that's happening.
Okay.
So they'll be there, and
All
then
right.
yeah. So this is kind of like my busy season too.
Yes.
Because got the Philanthropist run, and then after that we do the Ronald McDonald walk, and
yeah.
and honestly, I just love events that where it's a community event, but it's
Yeah.
going to a good cause.
Yeah.
And for me, being a father of 2 girls, keeping them as involved as possible, especially for an organization that supports their empowerment.
Yeah. We have people with strollers. It really is a family event. It's really fun, and we have our Facebook again now. The Philanthropist International of Lakewood and Long Beach is our Facebook page. We have an event page for the Lakewood Run that's attached, part of our page. But then I also set up a group called Lakewood run
Man.
striders and streakers for people who have participated in the past. And I'm posting pictures from prior runs. So people should go there and see if they can find themselves
Yeah.
in those pictures from going back. I have some that go back to
How
like
many
2007.
groups are you a part of on Facebook now?
Good. Well, I've got my
such a millennial.
Joyriders. I know. That's what I mean. I
Jeez.
think boomers relate to millennials more than any other two generations. I really do. Yeah. 3. Well, that I run.
yeah. It's
and then
different.
I belong to a few others
Yeah.
too.
It seems like it takes a lot of time just to.
It's bad.
But it's great. It's great
bad.
because
it's a time suck.
Yeah, it can be. It's all about how you do it. Right?
Yes. Right. Yeah. I'm not mostly I'm approving people who want to be on AB5 almost
Right.
like automatically just approve because
Yeah.
everybody's
It's just a
chill,
conversation.
everybody's good,
Yeah.
there's no rah. And then the just the club Facebook page which I manage, and then I have my own Joyriders private group
Yeah.
that just
private.
ladies having fun.
Is it a secret?
It's a secret private group.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's an ultimate private group. Well, Joy, thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thanks for
Always-
having me. This was
great
delightful.
talking.
Yeah, enjoyed it. All right.
Boom.
Okay. It was
We
fun.
didn't mess up the hair. Look. That's great.
All right.